So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. There's a law going into effect on June 30th, 2024 in Washington, D.C., and we got to talk about it. This article is from Morgan Lewis. They're an employment law firm. Here are the authors. It's a law flash, right? So the D.C. mayor, who's Mayor Muriel Browser, signed into legislation saying that covered employers must disclose pay ranges in all job postings. And this has been a very popular tactic to take, that pay ranges have to be included and so forth. I can't tell whether or not this trend is particularly effective. We've seen quite a bit of it, and here you can see some things. There's a growth manager at YouTube, growth manager for YouTube for Chime, and they said the role can't be performed in the state of Colorado, and that's because Colorado has a very similar law in place surrounding pay ranges. Or you can see here from Colorado Springs, it's a manufacturing engineer, and they put from 1 cent per year because they don't want to disclose. And this may drive away employers from specific states, especially when they're smaller states or municipalities like Washington, D.C., districts. And it's one of those things that I'm not sure. I think that there is some argument that only bad companies would not post in the state. Maybe laws like these are just simply sparing the residents from the drudgery of working for these companies. I'm not entirely sure which side I fall on personally. But there's going to be a congressional review, assuming it'll go past it, which it will. It'll go into effect on June 30th. These laws mirror California, Colorado, as I mentioned before, New York, and Washington, which require a minimum and maximum, and it has to be quote good faith belief at the time of posting. It would provide the listed pay for the advertised job. The interesting one here that I don't know if I've seen previously is that it's requiring employers to disclose prospective employees all benefits that they might receive. It doesn't have to be in the posting, but the recruiter has to tell them, and it has to include all of this information up front. I think that that's probably a reasonable thing, because it does allow for the opportunity to for employers to compete on benefits, because they can often not compete on wages themselves. So I think that there is that world where employers would like to compete on this level. This amendment stops employers from screening employees based on their wage history. And I think that that's really not that useful. I know that that's a meme, and I know that people talk about it, but ultimately they're not necessarily screening for their wage history, right? They're just making sure that it's in line with what's being offered. Because if you don't have these discussions up front with respect to pay, you're going to lead people down a really bad and boring path for them, bad and unprofitable path for them. And so ultimately, you want to have some screening in practice with respect to wage history. And again, this seems almost to be like a meme. This isn't a serious problem in the world. It's not something that is really effective. And Muriel Browser has some serious problems on their hands. I've been unable to find any definitive evidence that laws like this actually impact the wages of an employee, that they increase the amount of wages that someone might get. It's, again, a theory that hasn't been proven out in any discernible fact. And ultimately, that's what the basis of many laws in the United States are. They're kind of ideas that these things should work, that these things might have an impact, but in reality might drive employers away from the state, and might also have no ultimate impact. You'll see people that might post 0.01% a year just so that they can comply with the labor law. So what do you think about it? I mean, I'm frankly pretty mixed on the law, because I don't think that it'll have a real impact in my world or anyone else's. But do you think it will have an impact? What will be the impact in your workplace of such a law like this? Most companies, without going too far on a tangent here, it's the big companies that act very standardized and very consistent. companies that don't and are very wishy-washy and secretive about pay ranges and all these sort of things are typically small companies. And so, this is really just impacting the small person, small company, and building up an ever growing corporate megalith, right? And using regulatory capture to destroy the little guy, in my opinion. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.